Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Gabby Hour. I'm your host, Gabby Giselle, and on today's podcast episode, we're gonna be spilling the tea. Okay, we're gonna be spilling the tea on everything that I have learned in the last couple of months since rebranding, starting YouTube, starting a podcast, and just kind of like all of the feelings and emotions and learning curves that come with that, so that hopefully if you're thinking about starting on YouTube, if you're thinking about starting a podcast, if you're thinking about rebranding, this is going to let you know some things that maybe people don't talk about on the internet so often. So hopefully you find some value in this. If not, maybe you just find a little bit of entertainment on all the fun stories of how I've struggled. So let's go ahead and just jump into today's episode, because I do have a lot to talk about, because this is such a big topic, such a big concept to cover, and I would definitely love to do like more in-depth videos. I actually thought about filming this on my regular YouTube channel and as like a vlog, which I'm sure that I will at some point, but I want that to be more of like a tutorial versus this. I want it to be more of like a broader view, so that if you are thinking of doing a rebrand, or if you're thinking of starting on YouTube with longer form content, because I don't know, maybe you just want to make this switch, or maybe you want to add this to your repertoire. I felt like this would be really helpful, at least for somebody who's a beginner, to just kind of like give you my beginning advice. Because again, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. I'm not extremely successful here on YouTube or anything like that, but it's been something that I have really put some effort into this year, into learning, growing, and challenging myself by trying a different form of content. I've been a very short form content girly in the past, more on Instagram and TikTok. I've done a lot of like, in the past, my brand was very much fitness related, very much like personal development. And I think that was just kind of the stage that I was in my life. And I was very afraid. I was finding that like I wasn't enjoying making that content anymore. It felt very like red pilled and very like grind mindset, and I just didn't feel like that was who I am anymore. And I think that at the time when I was making that content, it was very genuine to what I was going through, because I did start my fitness journey. I lost, almost 80 pounds. I was super focused on my fitness, focused on my health, focused on my mindset, and it did really well for me. I was very happy making that sort of content. But in the last year or so, I felt like a lot of my life is very much slower. I enjoy, reading and relaxing and focusing more on taking care of myself rather than like grind, go, go, go. And I found myself wanting to make a switch, wanting to rebrand. I saw an opportunity with Book Talk opening up, and then I also saw an opportunity with BookTube, as well as just like YouTube in general. I feel like for me, short form content has always sort of felt like not enough, right? Like I've always felt like I can never get enough in what I want to. And it is good for growing, because I think it is the most widely used form of entertainment, at least for the average American and young person who would be in my demographic, right? Like my demographic of people that watch me is probably like young girls, like girls probably aged 18 to like, at least I hope you're not watching this if you're under the age of 18 to like 25, 26, like my age, and I really saw an opportunity when I was realizing like how big Book Talk is, and I was like, okay, I feel like I belong here, because on TikTok, I never really felt like my fitness content was doing well. On TikTok, I felt like the only things that did well on there were like thirsty trap things, like me lip syncing, which I do like making those videos. Like I be feeling myself, but it felt like I was forcing myself to be this like hot girl, when it's like, really, I'm just like a chill girl. I'm a funny gal. I'm not Tariami. I'm not I'm not like a hot party girl. That just didn't feel like I wanted to do that, and that didn't feel like I was building. Like I had like 4,000 followers on TikTok at the time, after like I had a really big video blow up in 2020 or like 2019 or something like that. I gained a bunch of followers, right? and a couple thousand, and I was stuck there though, because all of those followers were just from one viral video, and a lot of them were inactive, not engaging. You know, a lot of them I felt were men. Because I was just making like thirst trap ish videos. And then when I was in last week, I talked about how I was like in a spiritual girly era. I felt like I really liked making that content, but it kind of felt like everybody was making that content at the time. And I was like, that's not what I want. But I do like talking about like my journey of like becoming a better person and growing and learning. And I started to notice, though, that I didn't want to post on social media because I was insecure about the way that I looked. I did not feel good. And so I went on like a fitness journey. And about 6 months into my fitness journey, when I lost my first like 25 pounds, and I was like, oh, I'm going to start sharing my tips and tricks with everybody. And showing other people my journey, and hopefully I can inspire other people like the creators that I followed at the time were inspiring me. And I still follow a lot of them to this day. Like Elena Christine is one of the biggest gym content creators that I still enjoy watching to this day. Karina Delphine, I think is her last name. She is one of my favorites as well. And I still follow them, and Annalise Cruz, like all my Latina baddies, right? Like I really enjoyed their content to this day because I do still like working out and taking care of myself and eating healthy. No, I'm not going to say that I've been in the gym because I have not been in the gym in like a month. I've actually been doing like mat Pilates style workouts by myself in the back room of my business every single day after close, because we close at 3:30. So after close, I just go in the back, turn off all the lights. We have LED lights and we have mirrors for like a studio area. And I literally do like line dance. This is like so cringy, but I just do line dances for cardio warm up, and I do like 30 minutes of line dances. I normally teach myself a song, which takes about 10 to 15 minutes. And then after I learn the song, I do it like once or twice until I get it down. And then I have a playlist of songs that I know as a line dance, and I just do the entire playlist until I come back to the song that I just learned, and then I do the song, and then I move on to doing like mat Pilates, which has been really, really fun because I have always been like, oh, I want to go throw around weight. I want to throw around weight. Well, about 2 years ago, I actually hurt my knee pretty bad trying to leg press like 750 pounds. Why was I leg pressing that much? I don't know. Okay, I was an ego queen. All right, I was enjoying throwing around weight and proving to everybody and myself that I was that bitch, I was that strong, that I was that capable. And I do enjoy feeling that way. But I also felt like that stemmed a lot from insecurity in myself. And going on a fitness journey has really helped me to not have those insecurities and not need that like validation. Do you know what I'm saying? So I was super excited to work out and stuff until it just felt disingenuous, right? It felt like I was making content that, again, everybody else was making, which is like workout, gym stuff, blah, blah, blah. Like I felt that I had gone on my fitness journey and now it was a part of my lifestyle. But now my lifestyle, I wanted more peace, more calm. I was in a relationship. I moved in with my boyfriend. Like I was focused more and more on being feminine and soft and enjoying my life because I got older, and I was at 22 and I was like, man, I feel like I'm 22 and I've just been running my business and like grinding and like personal development every day and like fucking the gym every single day. And I haven't really given myself the time to enjoy life. And so when I got in the relationship, I was like enjoying life more. And I did gain a little bit of relationship weight, but we've since taken that off. And I've maintained like about the same weight on and off. I fluctuate between like 10 to 12 pounds within a year, which is pretty normal. But when I first got in a relationship, I gained like 30 pounds, which is just a lot for me. And I was feeling really insecure and unhealthy again. And I felt like, oh, I'm going to get back into grinding mode. And I think in the last 2 years, I found a balance for me that works. Like, I do try to make a point of eating healthy, of not eating too many calories. And if I do, like, that's totally fine. Like, I've made a point of being active. Like, I either take Benny for a walk, or again, I do my little mat Pilates, or I go to the gym, or I go for a walk by myself. I try to be more active and try to drink lots of water and take care of myself. And I find now that that balance for me is where my fitness journey just works. So, enough said about my lore, but a lot of your lifestyle is going to drive your content. And I think for people who are wanting to do content, or who are just doing content because it's fun, when you first start making content, right, you kind of do it with a point of like, oh, I'm going to start making X videos, right? Like, you start your content being like, I'm going to make these kinds of videos. You don't really start your content and you're like, I don't know what kind of content to make. Like, you might have this idea of what you want to do and you can't pick. There's a couple of things that I learned, all right? That you shouldn't be, number one, that you just shouldn't be afraid to like change your niche and change the kind of content you're making. And I think that a lot of people forget that famous people, like content creators that are like way big, millions of followers, they almost all started with something completely different or adjacent to what they do now, but not exactly the same thing, right? So if we look at, somebody like, I don't know, like, if we look at David Dobrik, for example, okay, kind of a weirdo, not a big fan, but I was at some point. But when I didn't know who David Dobrik was, he was on Vine and he was doing funny skits, and he's always been doing something in the comedy realm, but he's always done something a little bit different. In the past, it was kind of like that Vine 6-second like funny skit, and then it went from that to YouTube and Instagram, where Instagram was like the King Botch or King Bach friggin' whatever skits, I guess, with like Lele Pons. Like, he kind of was in that area, and then it was a lot of like just vlog style, right? And he started just vlogging his life and doing like, hanging out with his friends and doing funny stuff. And then he started hanging out with Jason Nash and found out that he can milk the whole like Jason Nash is old and like creepy kind of thing for views, and started doing that. And like, his content has definitely changed. He's always been in like the comedy realm, but you can tell though that in the past it was very much like, think of an idea, let's film this, boom, post, right? Then it went from that to like, let's just vlog and see if we can capture funny moments. And now it is at a point where it is very scripted, very idealized, very much like a production. And he also does other things. Like, he has like a protein supplement brand, I think. And I don't know. I don't keep up with David Dobrik, but like, that's just a name that a lot of people know of. If you look at Jake Paul, right? Jake Paul started with like cringy, weird vines with his brother being funny, right? And like funny in a cringy way, a way that's like, oh, like me and my brother doing stupid shit again, like look at us getting hurt and twerking and like doing funny stuff. And then from there to vlogging on YouTube, because YouTube was blowing up at the time. After Vine got shut down, YouTube blew up, right? And you look at him, and then he went into like content houses, and then personal development, like gym, and like funny sort of, again, David Dobrik style, very scripted, very thought out videos. And then to just kind of like flexing core, like just flexing all of his money. And then now he's a boxer, so he makes a lot of like sort of vlogs with a little bit of a personal development, sort of inspirational, again, still that flex. But the content that he made on Vine that got him an audience is not the content that he makes now. And that's what I'm trying to say, is like, when you look at all these big content creators, Alicia Marie, for example, way different from back in the day. Like, she used to do like beauty stuff and like hauls and like back to school haul. Like Schoolisha was my favorite thing to watch ever. And she still does vlog style, but in the past her sort of main channel videos were always what did better for her. And I always loved her vlogs, like Vlogmas with Alicia and the Asian Girl Squad. Like, when you look at their content, it has changed over the years, and that's to be expected. So I think the number one thing I would say is, like, don't be afraid to not 100% know, but to just kind of start and jump in and share things that you want to share. Like, if you love fitness, but you also love, yoga, fitness, and like spiritual healing, you can mix the two, but you have to start with something, right? And the biggest thing I learned in the beginning was to get a plan together, but not be afraid to deviate, right? So again, don't be afraid to change, but you have to sit down and write it down. Like, oh, I want to make fitness content. Okay. I want to make bookish content. Okay. I want to make lifestyle content. Okay. I want to do this style content. And all those things you can do, but you have to think, what are you passionate about right now that will translate on camera so that you can actually become successful? Because nobody wants to see a girl doing fitness content who doesn't really like fitness content that much, like who isn't so passionate about wellness and fitness and all this stuff that she's like obsessed with it, right? So for me, when I was thinking of transitioning from this sort of like not a lot of content being posted on my page, but in the past it's all been fitness, to more of like lifestyle, more of like cozy and like bookish, but still fun. Like, that's kind of how I've always described it in my head, is like, I do have a little bit of the Tarayami in me, like the Tarayami. I do have a little bit of the Tarayami in me. I do have a little bit of the like cozy Heather, Sarah Caroli vibes, right? I do have a little bit of the Alicia Marie vlogging, kind of just sharing my life and hanging out with my friends sort of vibe to me. And how can I mix all of those and make it my own, right? So I really sat down and I was like, okay, let me do some research. And I did so much research. Like, I've listened to almost every single how to blow up on YouTube, how to grow on YouTube, how to make your thumbnails, how to edit videos, which editing software is the best. I have watched so many educational videos, and the number one thing a lot of them say, especially the growth channels, are to sit down and write down your content pillars, which is just meaning every single thing when you first start out is going to fall underneath one of these 3 to 5 categories, right? And sure, a lot of people say, I want to be a lifestyle vlogger. Okay, well, what lifestyle things do you want to share, right? Like, do you want to share, productivity stuff? So like, maybe you do Sunday reset vlogs or restock or meal prep with me. Like, all those things kind of fall in there. Maybe you want to do cooking stuff. So, meal prep with me, cook this with me, a week of meals with me, like host with me sort of videos, right? Maybe you want to do travel vlogs, right? Like, all those are underneath the lifestyle category, but you can't just be a lifestyle creator with no vision, right? You have to have a set amount. And they've always said in the videos, like, pick 3 to 5, right? So for me, I picked, cozy lifestyle content. That's kind of like what I wrote at the top, right? And then I have underneath there, I have book reviews / reading vlogs. I have like cozy day in my life vlogs, and then I have traveling but also like fun vlogs, okay? And how that works is, like, almost all of my videos kind of fall in those categories. Some of them have all 3 pillars, right? So in a video, I might be doing a reading vlog, but I start listening to the video while I do productive shit in my house, right? Or I might do a Sunday reset video, but in the video, I'm listening to an audiobook or reading for a little bit in the morning, and that's a part of my Sunday reset vlog. But it's all sort of in these like 3 to 5 pillars that you choose for yourself. And you kind of just have to get creative and think about it. And one of the other things I learned also is to do your research by looking at people who are already successful in what you want to do, right? So if I'm thinking, I want to do bookish vlogs, I'm going to look at some of the big book creators like Sarah Caroli, Heather. I'm looking at Eden. I'm looking at Larry, and I'm looking at all their videos, and I'm like, okay, what of these videos do I like, right? And when you watch a video of theirs to do like research, don't just watch it, study it. That is like one of the biggest things, is like, what was their hook? How did they get you in? Why are you still watching this video? Asking yourself these very deliberate and intentional questions when you're watching these videos is so important. Like, if I'm watching a Larry video and I'm still watching it by 5 minutes in, I'm going to ask myself, why am I still watching this? What of this video got me? Right? And that's where I learned for vlogs, it's really good to put like this is sort of a new thing I implemented about a month or two ago, where I do a little bit of like a highlight reel in the beginning of the vlog with just kind of like shocking things, like parts where in a book I'm crying, or parts where I drop something, or something like that, right? Like something fun. Like, I just finished editing my New York City vlog, and that's going to go up. And it took me way longer than I thought it was going to, because I had to restart a little bit. Yeah. I put a little bit of a highlight reel in the beginning, and there's like horns honking, right? Like, there's me with my thumb that I freaking ripped out. Like, I have some bad news, but it's blurred out so you can't really see it, right? That sort of highlight reel hooks people in, because they're like, oh my God, like, what happened? This is so chaotic, and like, there's so much going on, right? And then boom, pops up, and it's me being like, hey guys, like, enjoy my New York City vlog. Like, I did tons of fun, crazy shit. And then boom, into the video. So that's kind of how I've learned to formulate it, is throw a little highlight reel in there, do a quick intro, and then boom, into the video straight up. Because if you waste a lot of time in the first 5 minutes of like slow like shots that are not that great, not a lot of people are going to be locked into you. So you have to figure out that. And that's how I figured out how to do it. A lot of times though, if you are a sort of a more educational, so a lot of these people that I watch where they talk about how to grow on YouTube, they almost all start their videos with like, in the last 5 years, I have gained 1 million subscribers on YouTube. This is the 50 things that I wish that I had known when I first started. Plus an extra thing at the end, like plus an extra tip at the end that most content creators forget about on YouTube. Boom. And then it's like they start into like, get back into the video. But that's the sort of hook that you would do for that kind of content. Or maybe if you are doing a cooking video, right, where you're either sharing the things that you're cooking or showing how to do something like a tutorial cooking show style video, you might show the finished product in the beginning to get people to be like, oh my God, that looks amazing. And then you kind of go into the process of like, so today we're going to be making this, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe some B-roll of you going to get ingredients, putting them together, doing all the prep, and then into the sort of like talking head style video. Like, it is so important, right? So once you've kind of decided on your niche that you like, your 3 to 5 pillars, and you've done all this research on all these content creators, right? Now it's time to actually start filming. And one of the biggest things that I really recommend is you start with a very reasonable expectation for yourself. Because I started with this expectation that I was going to post every single week, twice a week, 1 podcast episode and a vlog. And that was kind of rough. But I do recommend that when you first start, you back film. So like, this week you maybe film 2 podcast episodes for your podcast, and that way you're always 2 weeks ahead, right? So you're not going to post it until Monday, and then you'll have next Monday's ready, but on Tuesday you're going to film the next one, so you're always 2 weeks ahead. Now that just depends on the kind of content you make, because if you're doing a podcast like the Ben and Emil show, which they talk about current events, political things, economic news and things like that, you're gonna want to film as close as possible to your like upload date, so that your information and what you're talking about is still current and fresh, right? So that doesn't really work for somebody like that. But if you're doing, you know, vlog style videos, right, vlog like 2 weeks in advance, because who cares if it's not at the time that you're posting it, right? And so that's kind of what I recommend when you first start, is plan things out, okay? And have a couple of videos backlogged, so that way you're not in a big rush to get things done, but set a serious standard for yourself. Because if you are like, okay, I'm going to commit to a podcast episode a week, and you tell yourself that, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to film on, sometimes for me, I'll have a plan to film on like Tuesdays is usually my film day. But recently, Tuesdays, I've been exhausted when I come home. I have no energy. I was busy at work, and then I don't have any time to like get my drafts together, things like that. So I don't film until Wednesday. And like today I'm filming on a Wednesday. That's just kind of how it ends up working out. But I'm not going to put it off more than a day, right? Like I'm going to say, okay, even if tomorrow I wake up and I don't have that much energy, I'm going to do it anyways. So that's sort of, okay, give yourself the flexibility, but make sure you've got videos in advance. Like you're going to see this video in 2 weeks from now, but it was actually filmed 2 weeks ago. You're just not going to know, because why does it fucking matter? So that's kind of like the way that it's going. For example, I'm going to do Bookmas this year, which is 12 days straight of filming bookish style content. I'm not going to start filming on December 1st. I'm going to start filming like the beginning of November, and I'm going to set aside these videos, and I'm going to have them ready to go before we even get to December. I'm going to have probably the first 6 days of Bookmas filmed, edited, and ready to upload before December 1st. I'm just letting you know. Like I will 100% have them ready, right? And then the first 6 days of December, I will have the last 6 days of Bookmas ready to go. So that's just kind of like the work you have to do. Treat it like it's a job if you want it to be your job. That's my thing. It's like, this is a job that like you're not expecting any money. And so you're not expecting yourself to, like, nobody's going to push you to do it. Your boss is not going to show up and be like, hey, you're getting paid to do this, so you need to get up and do your job. No. That's kind of the beauty in it, though, because there's not a lot of financial pressure on it, right? Like, you're not going to start a YouTube channel tomorrow and be like, I better be making 6 figures by the end of this year. Like, no, that's unrealistic. That's stupid. And if that's your goal, like if that's a reason why you're doing YouTube, you're not going to enjoy it. I promise you, it's so much more work than you think, and it will not be worth it, because I promise you, you're not going to be making 6 figures in the first 5 months of starting your YouTube channel, unless you're like a mega clickbait queen and or already have a platform on a different app. Just saying. Okay. Now, the next couple of things that I want to talk about are going to be like filming setup, all the things that I use to film, etc., because I think that sometimes there's a lot of talk out there, but it's mostly like sponsored conversations, right? So I'm going to give you guys kind of like my real version of what I recommend you use to start a YouTube channel. Okay. Number 1. I'm not just starting a YouTube channel. I didn't just start a YouTube channel. I started a podcast, okay? And when I started my podcast, I need you to know, I started, okay? Right now, I'm going to insert a picture. I'm going to take a picture really quick of what my setup looks like from my perspective, okay? Okay, so right now I use the Sony ZV-1F camera for everything, okay? And the reason why I have a camera for everything is because I did not want to end up taking up that much storage on my phone, because it's just going to kill my storage. And I already have 1.7 terabytes filled on my phone because I pay $10.99 a month or $9.99 a month for 2 terabytes. And I'm already almost using all of it. I decided to purchase a camera when it came to filming, okay? And I'll tell you, it's because I did a podcast. If I had just started with a vlog channel, honestly, I would have started with my phone at first until I got the gist of editing and exporting and kind of how all of that works, which I'll get into in a second. But I will say I started with the Sony ZV-1F instead of what I really wanted, which is the Sony ZV-E10, okay, which is like a $4,000 camera, I believe. That could be wrong. Honestly, I could be saying the wrong model because it's been months since I've even looked at them. But I'm very excited because I really want to upgrade my camera. But I'm going to wait until I hit at least 1,000 subscribers. Which sounds like so little, but subscribers on YouTube is way more intense than followers. And I'll tell you, like, I don't know why, but it is so much harder to get people to subscribe than it is to get people to just follow you. Because a follow on all other social media platforms, you kind of just like, you follow somebody and then they like fall to the bottom on any other platform, and you will just fall into the abyss of people they follow. Most people follow like anywhere from a couple hundred to a couple thousand people. So you're going to not really be seen. So follow isn't that important. But on YouTube, when you subscribe to somebody, their videos, you'll get notifications if you turn your notifications on, but you'll also be seeing them immediately when you open the app. So it's like a guaranteed, I'm subscribed to this person. I want to know when they're uploading. I want it to be on my homepage all the time. So that's kind of why I think it's a little bit harder to get subscribers on YouTube, but I'm really excited. I want to like upgrade my camera, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it until I am eligible to make money on YouTube via AdSense, because I think that that's pretty important. And so the reason why I got the cheaper camera is because, like, way cheaper, by the way. And I recommend that if you're buying it from Best Buy and not like a secondhand place, that you look at their open box deals as well as their like Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals, because around the time that this is coming out, this should be coming out like later October, not like late October, but later October. And I think they'll definitely be having some good deals, so check those out for like Thanksgiving, Black Friday time, Cyber Monday deals. But also look at open box deals. Open boxes literally means somebody bought this camera, took it home, maybe they like tried it out a little bit, sure, maybe they used it, but there's no like real wear and tear, there's not a scratch, like they might have not even turned it on. Like when I got my computer, I also got my computer secondhand, or open box, I mean, and I got it for like $400 cheaper than it would be if it was just like the computer that I got. Okay, so look at open box stuff. You can see it online, and then you can also ask them at the store what they have open box. It literally just means somebody opened the box, didn't want it, and returned it within like 30 days. Most of the time, it's like next day returns that they were like, I don't think I'm going to use this, and returned it. So do with that information what you will. But the reason why I got the cheaper camera is because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't investing too much money. Mind you, when I started my YouTube channel, like I probably invested a total of like $1,200. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because number one, I had a really crappy old computer. I do have a couple of vlogs on my channel, which I'll probably like have a card here somewhere for them. I don't know if I can link them from another channel, but if not, they'll be linked down below, where I did vlogs, and like I was struggling so hard in the beginning because I had my old laptop, which I think I have somewhere around here. Honestly, it might be like underneath my ottoman, because I needed a new computer. My computer was like a 2016 MacBook, no M chips to be found. Okay, no M chips. It was so difficult to edit. It was taking me hours to export videos. I was literally crying all the time of frustration because my laptop was so old. So not only did I spend a lot less than I would have if I paid retail for this, at least earlier this year. I don't know what it would cost now, but like this camera retail is about, I want to say like $700, $750. I think I spent like 400 and some change on it, maybe like 500. I don't know. Now, my laptop, I did get a little bit of an older model, but I wanted to make sure it at least had an M chip, okay? So I think this is like the M3. I think we're on like the M6 or some shit right now. I don't know. This is an older laptop. It's not new. But I got it older, and I got it open box. So instead of paying, I think it was like $1,000 or like maybe like $800, $900 for this, I paid like $600, okay? Because I got it on a sale plus open box. So always kind of look for those deals, and again, don't spend money that you don't have. Like, just don't do that shit. I've always said since I was younger, I was told, do not buy anything if you cannot buy it twice over in cash. Okay, not with your credit card, because of course you can buy lots of shit with your credit cards, but if you do not have at least double, okay, if not like for smaller, cheaper things, like if you're buying like $20 of food and you've only got $50 in your bank account, don't do that. That's so dumb. It's not worth it. Cook at home, okay? And so, I mean, I'm fortunate enough, like I was like, okay, I don't want to invest too much because I knew I was going to have to buy a new laptop. And I was like, okay, I'm going to buy this camera. And I think I have it in this little bag, or no, I think it's actually in my purse up there. But I bought this like tiny little light. Like this lighting right now, if you guys watch the early podcast episodes, the lighting is totally different. I don't know if you can tell. but I can definitely tell because now I have these 2 giant lights, and I started with a tiny little light like right above, and I used to have to sit like this close to the camera so that you can even see my face, and I didn't know how like to fix the white balance. I still don't even think I know how to do that very well, but like I started with what I had and what I could afford to start with. Since then I've upgraded tons of things. And I started obviously with a microphone. I started with this cheap microphone on Amazon. I think it was like $80. Okay, that's pretty cheap for a microphone because every other microphone you're gonna be paying like $300. Okay, minimum for like a nicer. And I think that this does pretty well for what I use it for. In the future, again, I would love to upgrade, but this is just what I started with. But if I hadn't started a podcast, you guys, I would have started with $0 spent on anything. I would be editing my YouTube vlogs on iMovie, and I would have just started with that. Okay. So equipment wise, yes, I invested about about $1,000 total into plus like SD cards. Cause again, a camera is not just the camera, it's the batteries, extra batteries, cause they will die. SD cards, multiple, because they will get full. And especially in the beginning, because you don't really know like for vlogs what's gonna work. And I used to film like 13-minute long clips of me sitting and reading when I really only needed like a 5-minute clip. Okay, those are things you learn as you go on, whatever. But yeah, equipment wise, start with your fucking phone. Like, I'm dead serious. Start with your phone. Just do that. All right. And just be intentional. Again, plan it out. Understand that all of your content has to have a cohesive brand, cohesive look. You don't need Canva Premium to make good thumbnails. I'm telling you right now, you really don't. But if you have it, great. Like, I have Canva Premium, but I have Canva Premium because I have a business and I use it a lot for my business, for flyers and social media stuff. So, girl, that's a business expense. That is a business expense. And I also use this camera, fun fact, for my business videos as well sometimes, like for vertical stuff. I just flip it on the tripod and I use it for our social media for my business. And it works and I like it. And it's quick because it connects to my phone and I can just suction it to my phone. Suction it. You know what I mean. And yeah, like I've learned so much when it comes to, how to get all that sort of thing figured out. The next thing I want to talk about besides like equipment and stuff, because again, you can start with whatever you have. But when it comes to editing, this is where if you have the money, I recommend you invest into a better editing software than iMovie. However, I still use iMovie. So when I film the podcast, and I can do like in-depth videos about how I do this if that's kind of like something anybody would be interested in, but I don't think I have that much knowledge. But what I do is I take my audio clip, all right? I record my audio in GarageBand. There's so many other apps that you can pay for. This is free, okay? So I'm using GarageBand. I'm using my $80 freaking microphone from Amazon, putting it into GarageBand. I'm recording there right now. I'm also recording on my camera on an SD card. So when I finish wrapping up today, I'm going to take my SD card, I'm going to plug it into my computer, I'm going to open iMovie, start a new project, I'm going to export my footage into iMovie, and then I'm going to export my audio into iMovie, and then I'm going to take that and I'm going to sync it so that everything that I'm saying right now, because there's audio obviously recording from my camera because my microphone is not connected to my camera, it's connected to my computer, okay? But the audio that's coming out of here, all right, is going to go into iMovie, and that will be right underneath my video. And then I'm going to look at the sound waves of my video and at the sound waves of my audio. I'm going to cut my audio and snap it on to match the sound waves of my video, and then I'm gonna listen and make sure it's like perfect. And you gotta like zoom into it and you really gotta look at it. It takes 2 minutes. When I first started though, it took me like 30 minutes to figure that out, and it would take like 30 minutes every single video because I'd be like I didn't even know for the first like 4 podcast episodes that you could zoom in on freaking like to see the sound waves better. So I was like fully zoomed out to the whole project. I didn't know what I was doing, and that's okay. But I'm here to help you save a little bit of time so that you're not struggling. in the future. Okay. So yeah, I use iMovie, and then I take that, I remove the sound from the video, and then I export that, and then I throw it in a Final Cut Pro. So now, speaking of Final Cut Pro, let's talk about why I use Final Cut Pro and what I've used in the past. When I first started, I was, again, doing all this research, watching all these videos, and a content creator on here, I forgot her name. I forget. I feel bad. Like, I feel like I should have written this down so I could shout her out. But she made a video talking about Descript. Now, Descript, this is not sponsored, and I don't recommend you use it, just to start off there. And the reason why is because I found it to be more expensive and inefficient. And I'll tell you why. So Descript is basically an AI generated transcription editor. So that basically means is that when I take my clip and I throw it into Descript, it's going to transcribe every single word that comes out of my mouth. All right. Which is great for podcasting. I loved it at first. Okay. I was blown away. It uses AI to notice where you messed up so that you can cut out these areas where you're not, you repeated yourself. So for example, in the beginning of this video, when I first started the podcast, when I started my intro, I ended up repeating myself like 6 times. But you're not going to see that because I edit that out. But in Descript, it was awesome because it would highlight it for me, and then I could just like instant strike through. And I use the word like and so a lot, okay? And when you start editing yourself, just know you're going to notice how fucking annoying you are and how unable you are to speak English, okay? But Descript did all the work to kind of point that out to me, and then I could click one button and it would strike everything through, okay? Which is awesome. But after I had a couple of videos saved in Descript and I was trying to upload things, I noticed that I couldn't upload anything more than like 20 gigabytes. Mind you, Descript is $35 a month, okay? Which doesn't seem like a lot, but on the year, you're looking at like $400 a year, okay? And I just feel like that every year for something that stopped working, okay? Because that was the thing, is it stopped working for me. I was even getting my clips on there because it has AI generation clips, so it'll show what might be like a good viral video clip, and it'll edit it for you, and then it even has captions that, again, you don't have to sit there and type in all your captions. It will automate those for you. So it'll put them on there. You just change the design if you want. If you don't, doesn't matter. It has it all set up, which is really awesome. But again, it just stopped working at some point, and about like 3 months in, I stopped using Descript because it was too expensive on the year compared to other video editing softwares like Adobe Premiere Pro, which I'll get into next, and Final Cut, because both of those are just one. Well, Adobe Premiere is also every month, but you have an option for the every year. And then Final Cut is even better because Final Cut is only a one-time payment with unlimited updates. Okay, so I'll get into that though. So yeah, that's kind of why I stopped using Descript. I think it's good in theory. I think if they work on that and are able to provide that at a more affordable price, it would probably be something I use again in the future. But for now, it stopped working for me. It was really inefficient, and I went on Reddit and read a lot of people saying the same thing, and they were like, yeah, I couldn't figure it out how to get it on an external hard drive and still be efficient. It just wasn't doing what I needed to do, and it was taking way too much of my time, and I decided, okay, I'm just going to cancel it. Which is the nice thing though, is because Descript allows you to cancel or put your subscription on hold, which is nice, because a lot of other places are like, no, you're actually locked in for 3 months or for a whole year every single month regardless, and that kind of sucks. But yeah, that's why I stopped using Descript. I think it's good, but I think it could be better, and I just felt like it made my life a lot harder eventually and stopped working, so I stopped using it. So then I used Adobe Premiere Pro, which again, like I said, is $35.99 a month, and it is a industry standard. So if you want to transition from, maybe doing your own videos to maybe working in social media and using an editor in an industry and like traditional marketing or even just in general, Adobe Premiere Pro is industry standard. Most places, if you want to get a job there with video editing, are going to require you be well-rounded and well-versed in Adobe Premiere Pro. I liked it. I thought it was great, actually. They actually give you like a free month or something like that, and I used that free month, and then I paid for it for like 2 months or something. I don't remember, but they give you like some sort of free trial. I used that, and I liked it. It was cool. It was a little bit too much going on. it was a little bit not super beginner friendly. And again, it just felt like, sure, the basics, I could figure that out, but adding like cool effects and finding where all these different things are, even with tutorials and videos, felt not very beginner friendly. So after about like 3 months of me using that, in the last month, I've switched to using Final Cut Pro because, again, Adobe Premiere Pro is like $360 every year, no matter what. Okay, it's not like a one and done. And then I learned that and I thought Final Cut Pro was going to be the most expensive one. No, it's not. No, it's not. But Final Cut Pro, there was nothing wrong with Adobe Premiere. It's just, it was really complicated. And again, it was taking too long for me to learn it. And if I was just doing the podcast, that'd be one thing. But because I'm doing the podcast plus vlogs, I needed something that would be user-friendly for me to do fun edits and learn more about the editing process. Adobe Premiere was just not an easy thing to learn. And as somebody who runs a whole business that I work at every day from like Monday to Sunday, okay, for multiple hours a day, like 9 hours during the week and then like 10 on the weekends, it is not ideal for me to spend a lot of time. And if you work a full-time job, you would get it. It's the same sort of thing. Like, I don't have a lot of time to learn this. So I wanted the thing that was going to be most realistic for me to learn. But I did learn something from each individual platform. And I think it's good to use their free trials, check them out, and not fully commit, because that way you kind of get to like stick your toes in the water, which is nice. Now, for example, after that, I switched to Final Cut Pro. Final Cut Pro offers a 90-day free trial, which I think is pretty great. All right, Final Cut, if you want to sponsor me, I'll shout you out every video. All right, because that was awesome. Honestly, Apple be robbing people when it comes to their products. So the fact that they're willing to give you 90 days of free trial on their Final Cut Pro program so that you can get to know it, get to learn it, and find that groove within it is so helpful and so useful. And I actually am so impressed that they even do that, because nobody else has that long of a trial and nobody else can beat them on price, because it is like $290. I forget. It's like about $300, I think, for the program. But it is, again, one time. So I'm going to buy that. I bought it this year. After my 90-day trial was up, I bought it. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to buy this and I will never have to pay for it again. So if I'm still making content within a year from now, that's 2 years of making content, all right? I'm going to 100% get my money's worth, and I will have spent less money in a year to have it for an entire year than I would have spent on less than a year with Adobe Premiere Pro or Descript. So I was like, all right, this just makes sense. I'm going to do it. And I recommend it. I think it's really user friendly. I think it's very beginner friendly. And there's a lot of tutorials, information, and people on YouTube specifically that use it for editing. So you can find so many cool ideas and references of people who tell you like what sound effects to work or what sound effects to use, etc., etc. So I use Final Cut Pro. I find it the easiest to learn, and I'm still learning tons of new things on there all the time. So, you know, it's good. It's cool. You can expand, you can learn, you can grow. And I'm not looking to do this as like an industry standard job. So Final Cut Pro works for me, and I recommend it. Now, a couple of other things that I use Epidemic Sound for music for my vlogs and for sound effects for my vlogs, because sometimes the audio in something, like recently in the New York trip, I kind of messed up and I had my microphone plugged in but not on. And so the background audio of this like cute clip that I had was missing like the New York traffic audio that I wanted from it, and I just found a like New York traffic jam like audio, and I put it really low in the background of a video with text and then like music over top of it. So like that was really useful, and that is again a subscription, but I can afford it. It's not that expensive. I think it's like $20 a month, if that. I think it might be even like $17 a month. But I use it all the time, and it's really cool because they have even voiceovers on there. And again, not sponsored, but it's just something that I do genuinely use, and I like it. I think I'm getting my money's worth from it, to be honest with you. However, I do use a lot of Final Cut Pro's like stock, already installed sound effects and music in my videos. Like, it's kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie. Like that golf hit sound effect, the bottle cork sound effect, and what's the other one? There's like a suspense sound effect that is like kind of corny and used a lot in like old style YouTube videos. And I like to use it to be funny. So yeah, like you can just make do with what's already on Final Cut or find some like royalty free music all over YouTube, as well as like just other apps that are free, SoundCloud, different things. So yeah, that's kind of all of the like program equipment stuff that I've learned. Don't buy anything you can't afford and start with what you have. And just honest to God, my biggest thing is plan ahead so that you can be consistent, because there's nothing more devastating as a big YouTube avid watcher than to find a video of somebody's who did really well and it's got a couple thousand views and you're like, wow, I really like this creator, like I'm gonna subscribe, and you go to their channel to see if it's worth it to subscribe and they haven't posted a video in 6 months. Nothing worse. I'm like, ugh, you would do so well, just keep posting, girl, like you can do it, you know? So yeah, I guess that's like all I wanted to say on the sort of like giving advice realm about how it works and what to do. Again, I'm not a guru in the YouTube algorithm. I'm not a guru in like how to edit the best, but there's a lot of things that I think in this video that you could get that could save you time, like advice on what editing software to use, advice on if I think it's worth it or not, and kind of explaining to you guys that like I use my phone for vlogging a lot, especially when I was in New York. Like my camera would die or I would forget it and I was just vlogging on my phone, and like you can't really tell a difference. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like sometimes I'm like, man, should I have just like not even bought this camera and just saved that money to then buy my Sony ZV-E10 once I hit 1,000 subscribers and just use my phone? Maybe. But I also like that I have my phone is pretty separate from my editing stuff. So yeah. Other than that, I want to talk about the emotional sense. A lot of times when people start like a YouTube channel or content creation just in general, they're really afraid of like their friends and family finding them. Girl, start a new profile. Like if you're really that worried about your friends and your family finding it, like start a new profile and block them. Like just block them. I don't know. Like I don't tell my mom about my YouTube. I don't tell my family at all. But like all of the friends that I have, they know. Like I go out to coffee shops and kava bars and I sit and I edit for hours and people are like, oh, what do you do? The other day, some guy asked me, he was like, oh, are you editing a video? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, is that like what you do for work? And I was like, no, I just do it for fun. And he's like, for fun? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, so you sit on a computer and edit videos for fun? I'm like, yeah, I just have like a vlog channel and I post my life and it's fun for me. And he's like, oh, do you have subscribers? I'm like, I have like 20 on my vlog channel and I have like 52 on my podcast channel. And he was like, that's sick. And I'm like, I guess, you know, like, but it was kind of cool that he asked me like, oh, do you do that for a job? And I was just kind of like, no, I do it for fun. And I think that that's honestly what you have to stick to, is having fun with it. I'm genuinely having fun with learning how to edit, finding new music on Epidemic Sounds, finding new ideas from my favorite content creators. Like Sarah Caroli does this like TV screen layover on her like beginning sort of like teaser in the beginning of her vlogs. And I like that, but I feel like if it was not so much like a TV, but like an old Windows computer with like the pop-up, do you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna try to find something like that. Like that was recently when I had an idea of, I was like, oh, maybe I should do that. I recently learned how to do the pop-up that you guys saw at the beginning at the video of the podcast episode, where it has like all my socials as well as like my personals on there. Like I just learned how to do that on Canva the other day. Great, cool, so excited to put it in my video. But yeah, other than that, like, just keep doing it. Keep doing things that make you happy. Make the content that you like. And don't be afraid to, like, scrap things also, but don't scrap everything. Sometimes I, like, film an entire vlog, and then I'm just like, I don't feel like this is entertaining. And then I'm just like, don't post it. And that's okay. But you can tell most of the time when you're filming something if it's not going to be entertaining. And you just kind of put it to the side. Maybe you try it again at another time. This is a very creative thing, and it should stay that way. I think that that's one of the biggest things. Again, don't do YouTube if you're just going to do it for money, because you're not going to make money at the beginning, and you should very much just do it for fun, because it's so fun. Like, I love being the girly with my camera out at every function. Like, I love documenting my life. I think it's so cool that in 10 years, when my kids are like alive, I don't know, maybe in 10 years I'll have kids, and then in 20 years, like, my kids will be able to watch my life on my YouTube channel. And maybe I'm not famous. That's okay. It'll just be fun to have all these really cool videos of my life. And like, even episodes where I be talking a little bit of shit, or maybe I'm talking about something that's going on in my personal life, like, you know, those things I'll be able to look back on in a couple years, and I will be so, like, I would love it, you know, like, it's going to be so fun to look back on these things and see my life, and everybody else gets to see my life. I don't care. Like, I'm not a queen of privacy. I be telling people all my damn business, whether they want to hear it or not. Okay. So yeah, I'm not the most private queen ever. I record everything, and not everything. I wish I recorded more, actually. Then I would have more clips, more B-roll for my vlogs. But, you know, I'm learning, and I recommend that you stay passionate about it. You keep having fun, and you keep learning, because this is art, and art should not be rushed. Art should not be commercialized. Art should not be turned into this thing that's just for money. Because like, when you take like famous works of art, like Banksy's, I think that's his name, the girl with the balloon that's in the shape of a heart or something like that, and then the minute it sold, there was a chip in the painting, basically, that immediately shredded the art. And the purpose of that was to say, okay, like, when you sell my art, you've sold it out, and it is no longer truly worth anything. And then people just went ahead and sold it for even more as a shredded piece of garbage, because capitalism, because and that was like the whole message. And it was like, wow, the fact that it just went right over everybody's fucking head, and they just went right back to auctioneering, and it sold for even more than it sold intact, was just truly crazy. So treat it like art, and treat it with love, and be kind to yourself, be patient. And again, like, that's why I recommend you film 2 weeks before you're planning on actually launching your channel, because there will be things that you don't know, like, oh, I have my camera and my SD card, but I don't have a way to export it into my thing. Oh, I gotta go to Best Buy tomorrow and get my little dongle so I can put it in, and then da-da-da-da. Oh no, like, I'm editing my video halfway and I ran out of storage. Let me go to Best Buy tomorrow and go get a freaking external hard drive. Like, let me order on Amazon an external hard drive. Let me order extra batteries. Like, these are things that you will learn as you go, but you have to start. And I recommend to just not care. Do not give a single fuck what people say about you. I don't care. Like, people think it's cringy. Cool. That's their prerogative. That's why they don't have YouTube channels. That's why they don't have social media presence. That's why they're not doing what you're doing. And that's okay. Like, if they think it's cringy, then fine. But like, all you need is yourself. Truly. Because you will find out that the people on the internet are so much more supportive than most of the people in your life. Swear to God. And it is sad, but it is true. So just do your fucking thing. Do not move with fear. Do not move with embarrassment. Do not be scared to tell people about it, because I used to edit literally like in the corner so that nobody would see what I was editing. Now I edit up at the bar in front of people. People ask me all the time, what are you doing? What do you do? Are you a content creator? Like, is this your full-time job? I'm like, no, not yet. You know, maybe in the future, but right now it's just fun. Like, I'm just enjoying it. I'm having fun. I'm learning. I'm growing. It's a hobby of mine. It's just fun. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I want to say thank you guys for 53 subscribers, which is crazy. And I know that seems like such a small number because, like, when you look at my TikTok, I have like almost 6,000 followers on TikTok. On my Instagram, I have like 1,000 followers. But yeah, like, thanks. That's so cool. Like, I just realized this today that, like, I have 52 subscribers, which is so impressive. And my vlog channel is growing too. It's at like 20 something subscribers. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like loving it. So yeah, thank you guys for that. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe. Yeah, keep up with me. Keep up with my vlog channel also. I'll probably start doing some videos about like updating you guys on more in-depth, you know, what I've learned about editing, tips and tricks, and like basics. Even I can do a video like that. Just to kind of help other people out that want to start content creating. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I really have to say this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have, by the time this will be coming out, I think it'll be close to Halloween, but I will have a episode coming out either that Friday. Okay. So we'll probably do a bonus and or a early upload for Halloween. I don't know. What day is Halloween? I think it's on that Friday. Yeah, it's next Friday. So next Friday, I will probably have a spooky upload for you guys. If not here, then it'll be on my vlog channel. But yeah, I wanted to tell scary stories this week, but this was just kind of like on my mind, and I felt like I had the energy and the inspiration to do this. So I hope it was valuable or at least somewhat relatable. If you are a new content creator, comment down below like what you've struggled with, if you struggled with similar things, and I don't know, give somebody advice in the comments. I don't know. But yeah, love you guys so much. I'll see you guys next week with another new episode of the Gabby Hour. Bye.